I'm picking up on page 172, just after Pelides has asked them to go in and visit with Circe. It's about line 254 or so. So, reassured, they all cried out together, and she came swiftly to the shining doors to call them in, all but Eurylochus, who feared a snare. The innocents went after her. On thrones she seated them and lounging chairs, while she prepared a meal of cheese and barley and amber honey mixed with Pramnian wine, adding her own vile pinch to make them lose desire or thought of our dear fatherland. Scarce had they drunk when she flew after them with her long stick and shut them in a pigsty, bodies, voices, heads, and bristles all swinish now, though minds were still unchanged. So, this is a really interesting little trick. The men turn into pigs, but they still think like men. So, they know who and what they were, but they can't do anything about it and they can't speak. So squealing, in they went, and Circe tossed them acorns, mast, and kernel berries, fodder for hogs who rot and slumber on the earth. Down to the ship Eurylochus came running to cry alarm. Foul magic doomed his men, but working with dry lips to speak a word. He could not, being so shaken, blinding tears welled in his eyes, foreboding filled his heart. When we were frantic questioning him, at last we heard the tale. Our friends were gone. Said he, "We went up through the oak scrub where you sent us, Odysseus, glory of commanders, until we found a palace in a glade, a marble house on open ground, and someone singing before her loom. A chill, sweet song, goddess or girl, we could not tell. They hailed her. And then she stepped through shining doors and said, 'Come, come in.' Like sheep they followed her, but I saw cruel deceit and stayed behind. Then all our fellows vanished, not a sound and nothing stirred, although I watched for hours. When I heard this, I slung my silver-hilted broadsword on and shouldered my longbow and said, 'Come, take me back the way you came.' But he put both his hands around my knees in desperate woe and said in supplication, 'Not back there, my lord. Oh, leave me here. You, even you, cannot return. I know it. I know you cannot bring away our shipmates. Better make sail with these men quickly, too, and save ourselves from horror while we may.' But I replied, 'By heaven, Eurylochus, rest here then. Take food and wine. Stay in the Black Hull's shelter. Let me go, as I see nothing for it but to go.' I turned and left him, left the shore and ship, and went up through the woodland, hushed and shady, to find the subtle witch in her long hall. But Hermes met me with his golden wand, barring the way, a boy whose lip was downy. In the first bloom of manhood, so he seemed, he took my hand and spoke as though he knew me. 'Why take the inland path alone, poor seafarer, by hill and dale, upon this island all unknown? Your friends are locked in Circe's pale. All are become like swine to sea, and if you go to set them free, you go to stay, and never more make sail for your old home upon Thakai. But I can tell you what to do to come unchanged from Circe's power and disenthrall your fighting crew. Take with you to her bower as amulet this plant I know. It will defeat her horrid show, so pure and potent is the flower. No mortal herb was ever so. Your cup with numbing drops of night and evil stilled of all remorse she will infuse to charm your sight. But this great herb with holy force will keep your mind and senses clear. When she turns cruel, coming near with her long stick to whip you out of doors, then let your cutting blade appear. Let instant death upon it shine, and she will cower and yield her bed, a pleasure you must not decline. So may her lust and fear bestead you and your friends, and break her spell, but make her swear by heaven and hell no witch's tricks, or else your harness shed. You'll be unmanned by her as well. So Odysseus meets up with Hermes, and Hermes says he can help Odysseus with this special flower that's going to keep the witch's potion from working on him. And he says when she tries to turn him into a pig with her stick, that he should use his sword and pretty much scare her. But that Odysseus also has to jump into bed with her and just make sure that she swears an oath first. Otherwise, he is going to get turned into a pig as well, unmanned by her as well. He, this is Hermes, bent down glittering for the magic plant and pulled it up, black root and milky flower, a molu in the language of the gods, fatigue and pain for mortals to uproot. But gods do this and everything with ease. So this is almost like a parallel text right here to what Athena had told Telemachus. Hey, don't doubt the gods can do anything. And he was saying that this plant was really hard to pull up and people couldn't do it. But for a god, it's nothing. Interesting. Then toward Olympus through the island trees, Hermes departed. And I sought out Circe, my heart high with excitement, beating hard. Before her mansion in the porch I stood, to call her, all being still, quick as a cat. She opened her bright doors and sighed a welcome. Then I strode after her with heavy heart. Down the long hall and took the chair she gave me, silver studded, intricately carved, made with a low footrest. The Lady Circe mixed me a golden cup of honeyed wine, adding in mischief her unholy drug. I drank, and the drink failed. But she came forward, aiming a stroke with her long stick, and whispered, "Down in the sty and snore among the rest." Without a word, I drew my sharpened sword and in one bound held it against her throat. She cried out, then slid under to take my knees, catching her breath to say in her distress, "What champion of what country can you be? Where are your kinsmen and your city? Are you not sluggish with my wine? Oh, wonder! Never a mortal that drank this cup, but when it passed his lips he had succumbed. Hale must your heart be, and your tempered will. Odysseus, then you are! O great contender, of whom the glittering god with golden wand spoke to me ever, and foretold the black swift ship would carry you from Troy. Put up your weapon in the sheath. We two shall mingle and make love upon our bed, so mutual trust may come of play and love." To this I said, "Circe, am I a boy that you should make me soft and doting now? Here in this house you turned my men to swine. Now it is I myself you hold enticing into your chamber to your dangerous bed to take my manhood when you have me stripped. I mount no bed of love with you upon it, or swear me first a great oath if I do, you'll work no more enchantment to my harm." She swore at once outright as I demanded, and after she had sworn and bound herself, I entered Circe's flawless bed of love. Presently, in the hall, her maids were busy, the nymphs who waited upon Circe, four whose cradles were in fountains under boughs, or in the glassy seaward gliding streams. One came with richly colored rugs to throw on seat and chair back. Over linen covers, a second pulled the tables out, all silver, and loaded them with baskets of gold. A third mixed wine, as tawny mild as honey, in a bright bowl, and set out golden cups. The fourth came bearing water, and lit a blaze under a cauldron. By and by it bubbled, and when the dazzling brazen vessel seethed, she filled a bathtub to my waist and bathed me, pouring a soothing blend on head and shoulders, warming the soreness of my joints away. When she had done and smoothed me with sweet oil, she put a tunic and a cloak around me and took me to a silver-studded chair with footrest, all elaborately carven. Now came a maid to tip a golden jug of water into a silver finger bowl and draw a polished table to my side. The larder mistress brought her tray of loaves with many savory slices, and she gave the best to tempt me. But no pleasure came. I huddled with my mind elsewhere, oppressed. Circe regarded me as there I sat, disconsolate and never touched a crust. Then she stood over me and chided me. "Why sit at table mute, Odysseus? Are you mistrustful of my bread and drink? Can it be treachery that you fear again after the god's great oath I swore for you?" I turned to her at once and said, "Circe, where is the captain who could bear to touch this banquet in my place? A decent man would see his company before him first. Put heart in me to eat and drink you may. By freeing my companions, I must see them."